Now, when we're talking about word stress, we're talking about words with more than one syllable. So how do you know the number of syllables a word has? The clue is to count the vowel sounds. Let me show you something. Now here are some words to help explain how we count syllables. At the beginning of this lesson, I talked about getting a job on a steamboat. I traveled along the river, and I saw different states. To count the syllables, we're going to count vowel sounds. In this first word, job, there is one vowel sound, ah. In phonetic transcriptions, looks like that. So one vowel sound, one syllable. Next word, steamboat. How many vowel sounds? E, O. Phonetic transcriptions, E, O. So we have two syllables. Two vowel sounds, two syllables. These first two words remind you that a vowel sound can be spelled with one letter or sometimes spelled with two. Let's look at the second word, river. How many vowel sounds? Two. I, Two vowel sounds, two syllables. States. How many vowel sounds? One. A. This word reminds you that sometimes you may see a vowel, but it's silent. E is often a silent vowel. One vowel sound, one syllable. And down here, the word different. In very slow, careful speech, and especially formal speech, you might get this pronunciation, different. But often in fast speech, you lose that middle sound and you get different. So again, how do you know the number of syllables a word has? You can look in a dictionary and also listen to how people use the word. Most Americans say this word with two vowel sounds, I and A. So in fast speech, you get different. So now you know how many syllables there are in each word, we can talk about which syllable is stressed. Now, we can only talk about word stress when there's more than one syllable. So, we're not going to look at job, and we're not going to look at states. In steamboat, you will either look in a dictionary and see that the first syllable is stressed, or hear people speak, and they'll say steamboat. River, you'll either hear people speak, or you'll look in a dictionary and understand that the first syllable is stressed, river. And in this last word, again, you'll either look in a dictionary or hear people speak, and they'll say different, stress on the first syllable.
Exercise 3. Count the number of syllables in each word. Here's an example. Look at the word and say it out loud. The word is travel. How many syllables? 2. Travel. There are two vowel sounds in this word. Travel. In phonetic transcriptions, a, Travel, two vowel sounds, two syllables. Let's start with number 1. The word is map. Map has one syllable. Number 2. The word is compass. Compass has two syllables. 3. The word is suitcase. Suitcase has two syllables. 4. The word is continent. Continent has 3 syllables. How did you do? I'm sure you did fine. If you found it a little difficult, though, go back and try again. Pay attention to the vowel sounds. Those vowel sounds are your clue. Exercise 4. Look, listen, and repeat. You will now hear all 50 states and their capitals. Note that we write a capital before the state. For example, Austin, Texas. The state is Texas, and its capital is Austin. When we write it, we separate the capital and state by a comma. Note on phonetic transcriptions. The IPA, or International Phonetic Alphabet, is used in this lesson. I choose, though, to be consistent with my earlier lesson on R. When it is pronounced as a consonant, I use this symbol. When it blends with a vowel sound, I use that vowel sound with this symbol. I also include secondary stress when appropriate. For example, the state Alabama. If you look at the transcriptions, there are two markings. One is raised, one is lowered. The primary stress is a raised mark. Secondary stress is shown by a lowered mark. So the greater stress is on this third syllable. We say Alabama, Alabama. What else is shared in this exercise? Interesting information. I'll show you the state flag, the location of the state, and date of statehood, which means when it became a state. And you'll hear short interviews with native speakers. Listen for the names of states in their answers to my questions. Montgomery, Alabama. Juneau, Alaska. Phoenix, Arizona. Now, not all sources will agree with my transcriptions for the state here, but I choose to use these transcriptions because I feel they most closely reflect the most common pronunciation among Americans. Again, we say Phoenix, Arizona. Little Rock, Arkansas. Sacramento, California. Denver, Colorado. Hartford, Connecticut. Dover, Delaware. Tallahassee, Florida. Atlanta, Georgia.
Have you been to all 50 states?
No, I haven't been to all 50 states, about 23.
Wow. What's your home state?
My home state is Massachusetts.
What's the capital of Massachusetts?
Boston, Massachusetts.
Can you tell me some vacation states?
Sure. New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont. I've spent time in New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida.
Is there a state you'd like to visit in the future?
I'd actually like to visit Alaska.
Why?
I'd like to see the glacier. I'd like to see Mount McKinley or Denali, whichever you prefer to call it. And I've never been to the Pacific Ocean, so I think I'd like to see that as well.
Have you traveled to the South?
I've traveled a number of times.
Which states have you been to?
Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Louisiana. I've never been to Mississippi, Alabama, or Arkansas. I consider them southern states. I've been to Tennessee. I've never been to Kentucky. So I think those are most of the southern states. I think I have only missed 4 of what I consider southern states.
Which state do you think is the most beautiful state?
It's a toss-up between Maine and North Carolina for me.
Have you been to Washington?
Washington, D.C. or Washington State?
Either.
Washington, D.C., yes. Washington State, no.
Mhm.